Welcome to the postmortem for our Capstone project, Area 51 Gauntlet. Here's the backstory to Area 51 Gauntlet. The player plays as an alien who is orbiting the wrong planet at the wrong time. The United States government noticed an unidentifiable spacecraft in their solar system. The government looked at this as an opportunity and set up a decoy message asking the traveler to stop by for a peaceful encounter. Once George entered the atmosphere, he was shot down and taken to Area 51. George is one of the many voyagers exploring the galaxy to find new habitable planets. Now George is stuck being experimented on in an underground bunker known as Area 51. George needs to find his spacecraft and escape the primitive planet. The current game is a concept that transformed over time with the team skill and game design. Initially, the Capstone project was a 2D horde mode version of the game, but as soon as development started, we decided to go with 3D instead. All assets were easier to find, the team was more comfortable using 3D, and we weren't able to draw 2D sprites. The player is consistently fighting enemies that is always kept alert and busy. The weapons in the Capstone project have evolved significantly. They started off as basic concepts to now each having their own strengths, weaknesses, and ammo types. The main mechanics in Area 51 are wave enemies, special abilities, and boss fights. The player is always facing a wave of enemies. After each wave, more enemies spawn and tougher enemies have a higher chance to appear. Every 10 waves, depending on the difficulty selected, the player will face a boss. The boss's different ways to attack range from teleporting to using highly accurate lasers. After the player completes an important objective, such as defending a thruster or defeating a boss, they will be awarded a ship part. The player needs to transport the ship part to the repair room in order to repair their ships and escape Area 51. The features that are most unique and the team is most proud of are different abilities, different mechanics used during the boss. Area 51 has 3 different difficulties: easy, normal, and who's your daddy. Depending on the difficulty selected, the enemy's health, player damage dealt, and amount of enemies that spawn per wave vary. Area 51 has 2 different bosses. The test subject 115 teleports to random locations within his designed area and emits a damage volume if the player gets too close. The zombified test subject 115 can only be harmed once the player has dropped the shield. Players can do this by destroying control panels, which are located around the room. For each 25% of the boss health, control panels need to be destroyed. Boss 2 also has a unique weapon. When the player is within range, it shoots a laser beam. The main skills the team learned were lighting, troubleshooting, frame rate, UI, and HUD. We went with a retro arcade feel for Area 51, so the lighting was very important. We used it to dim areas that we did not want the player to focus on, and shade some of our low-res textures and to guide the player to the next step of the game. The UI and the HUD is also very important in our game. It is the best way to convey all and any information to the player. In Area 51, each ability and weapon has a corresponding UI on the HUD that tells the player how long they have until the ability can be used and how much ammunition they have remaining. We also implemented a challenge/objective system that has its own dedicated UI. This visual displays the player's current objective and the goals. As Area 51 became more complicated, we started to suffer from sudden frame rate drops. The drops caused bugs, crashes, glitches. We went to Google in search of aid and found that our lighting and spawning were the culprits. We fixed the problems and now the game runs great and maintains a great FPS. And that's going to wrap up the postmortem for Area 51 Gauntlet. Thank you all for watching.